Located on the square of Gettysburg, there's a large variety of choices from their menu, served to you with a lot of personality and professionalism. The pub and restaurant located at 21 Lincoln Square, Gettysburg.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Cook. Welcome to ACT Live. For the next hour or so, we'll be sharing the moment in your homes with several fascinating guests here from our studio. We're at 44C Franklin Street in the borough of Gettysburg, and after a hiatus of in excess of a year, live television programming has returned to Adams County. The first live image that was viewed by the public here in the area 8 years ago, unfortunately some may say was my mug, and here we are again with a return theme, but don't worry, there'll be lots of other exciting guests. My first guest, in fact, was the first guest we had on the first live program 8 years ago, Act Naturally, produced by Dane Wagle, and our guest is Mark Nesbitt, a very important individual in our community, a very well-known author, and it's a pleasure to have Mark with us here on the program today. He'll be visiting with us shortly. But before we invite Mark onto the set, let's just give you a little preview about what lies ahead. Also coming up, some musical selections by singer, songwriter, humorist Ray Owen. We'll also feature Dawn Baker, the 1,000-point scorer for the Gettysburg Lady Canners. She'll be along, or rather the Biggerville Lady Canners. Excuse my apologies to all those in Canner country. So Dawn Baker will be along, and we have some awards presentations to make to her, and we're also going to acknowledge the other 1,000-point scorers from the high school area. After Ray and Dane are on, we'll feature the comic relief of resident brain teaser Pierre Fontaine. Pierre dazzled our viewers for many years, and he's come back with some delightful entries from his cornucopia of puzzles, enigmas, and conundrums for your edification and enjoyment. We're also going to highlight some clips of Act Naturally over the year. This is not really a return of Act Naturally, but it is live television. We hope to bring you many more live programs ahead. Ray Gowker, our founder and producer of Act Vision, will return with his program in the near future. We also plan to bring you news broadcasts. It's an exciting time here at ACT. We are now, thanks to our good friends at GS Communications, who've brought us a lot of sponsorship, we're now reaching homes throughout the county. Homes in Lake Mead, Fairfield are now getting Adams Community Television. And within the next 6 months to a year, not only will there be coverage for the entire county, but for many areas of your county as well. The Glen Rock, Spring Grove, Dillsburg areas, and Dover already enjoying ACT. We are Adams Community Television, Channel 10 on your High Rock system. And we thank the good people at GS Communications, all the workers that did such a great job. You'll be seeing some of our studio here throughout the evening and in the programs ahead. We also want to thank the owners of the facility here, Mr. Paul Hoover and Mr. Kenny Faust. So we also got a little plug-in for our underwriters, the pub and restaurant, and Built to Last Contracting. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our first guest here to the studio, Mark Nesbitt. Mark?
Hi, Jeff.
How are you?
Just fine.
Good. I know it's a busy time for you, so thanks for taking time out from your schedule.
That's okay.
Quite a lot's happened since you were last on the show.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. Well, you know, I've been, speaking of television, since I was on last, I've been on Sightings and Unsolved Mysteries, and just recently Pennsylvania Cable Network did a thing on Ghosts of Gettysburg, but I have to tell you, this is the best.
Yeah.
This is the most exciting, being here home with and speaking with a friend like you.
Well, good to have you aboard. And I guess we haven't really reviewed that first show for the simple reason we can't locate the tape. But at that time, Ghosts of Gettysburg was, I think, maybe Volume 1 had come out, and maybe just Volume 2. And now you've already had Volume 3 hit the stands, and Volume 4. So you've doubled your output just in several years.
Yeah, that's right. The Ghosts of Gettysburg 4 just came out mid-April, as a matter of fact, just a couple of months ago. And so that, actually, that's probably not going to be the end of the ghost stories and collections, because I do have enough stories for a fifth one. It's kind of interesting because, you know, the stories, I'm like a lightning rod now. The stories just keep pouring in and pouring in. And people keep having experiences out on the Gettysburg battlefield and in the town of Gettysburg as well.
Could be like Super Bowls. We'll just have Roman numerals and just keep them going ad infinitum.
Let's
perhaps.
hope so.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenon, and no pun intended, but just the popularity. I mean, did you ever imagine the success that these books would have when you first started the first book about the ghosts of Gettysburg?
No, not really. It was very unusual that the first book came out and I started getting phone calls and letters from people, a huge number of people, as a matter of fact, who had experiences out on the Gettysburg battlefield. And it was a little surprising because it took me 15 or 20 years to collect all the stories for the first one, because apparently people were pretty reluctant to talk about what had happened to them. But now, even after 4 books, I have a stack of letters and notes and photographs from people that it's about a foot high still, and they keep coming in. I got 2 last week. So I don't know exactly what's going on out there on the battlefield, but it keeps happening, and apparently is some sort of residual from the emotions that ran very high, of course, 135 years ago today in the next 2 days.
That's right. Today is July 1st, you first-time viewers, the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg 135 years ago. And now here we are 135 years later. We had some brief video problems. That's why I was hesitating there. Always something exciting here at ACT. We are an all-volunteer organization, and our phone number is 334-3000. If you ever want to call to complain or hopefully to compliment us, feel free to give us a call. And later in the show, you'll be able to call in and solve some of those brain teasers that Pierre Fontaine's going to pose to the crowd. Let's get back to, we were talking about Gettysburg, Ghosts of Gettysburg 4, and you're saying that these are stories of ghostly type experiences or paranormal or abnormal experiences that have occurred in the last 2, 3, 5 years, let's say?
Most of the ones in Ghost 4 are fairly recent. The first 2 books I included stories that I would have to call legends. In other words, I really didn't know to whom they happened. Not all of them, many of them I did, but a few of them, for example, The Woman in White or The Phantom Regiment. I was not really aware of the individuals that they occurred to, but they were legends. I'd heard about
The Blue Boy.
The Blue Boy, for example, things like that. And what's happened, though, since then is that people have called me, in particular 2 nurses from Erie, Pennsylvania, called me and said that they were visiting the battlefield of Gettysburg. Before they even read my books, they went out to Spangler Spring, where the woman in white supposedly appears, and they saw her. Interestingly enough, I called them, I spoke with them, and they agreed to play themselves on the second Ghosts of Gettysburg video. And so we actually have documentation now of what was called a legend before, because we had no primary sources for that, and now we do. We have 2 women who actually, I mean, you could take them into court and they will swear that that's exactly what happened to them. Mm-hmm. And it's now documented on a videotape by the individuals it occurred to.
Well, you've given this whole ghostly phenomena an aura of legitimacy, so now people perhaps are not reluctant to come forward. They won't be viewed as being crazy or abnormal if they come forward with their stories and share them with you.
Not at all. It seems to be a growing phenomenon, and it's not just in Gettysburg. There are other places as well around the country who are individuals are beginning to research and actually investigate into this. Just this last March, we had the International Ghost Hunters Society visiting Gettysburg, and they had a convention here of 150 or 200 people. There are branches of that. The Pennsylvania Ghost Hunter Society, President Rick Fisher, I'm working with him right now. He has developed a technique on how to photograph what he believes are spirit energies out on the battlefield, in cemeteries. It doesn't work in his backyard, so something that has to do with death is showing up on his photographs. He has photographs. Interestingly enough, I was out at Sachs Covered Bridge our covered bridge here in Adams County not too long ago with him, and he loaned me his night vision scope, and I actually saw one of these globes of energy move through the camera itself, and I was just astounded because I'm as skeptical as anybody. You know, I have to remain objective if I'm going to write about these things, but it was just incredible. I couldn't believe what I saw.
I think that's something you've said in the past, that you have not personally experienced any of these kind of ghostly happenings, but that would be the exception, and you actually sense something out there near Saks, near the bridge?
Well, it wasn't just sensing it. I saw it through the night vision meter, a globe of energy. Of course, it was green through the scope. It came through the roof of the bridge, made an abrupt left-hand 90-degree turn, and went out the side of the bridge. So we're doing more investigation on this. He's seen these things before out at Little Round Top and other places in cemeteries and what have you. And but this is just another thing that seems to be branching out from the studies and the collecting of this raw material that seems to be like a sociological study now. We have a lot of data. Now people are starting to investigate.
Well, you haven't gotten Harold Ramis and Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd here yet in search of ectoplasm, but I mean, it sounds almost like, okay, you find these things, what are you going to do, slime them? But this gentleman is obviously a scientist that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's not a scientist in terms of training, but he's using scientific methods. He uses what is called a thermal scanner. It's the same type of thing that construction workers use to see where your house is leaking cold air. And he's gone out on the battlefield and located specific spots where the temperature goes to -3 degrees on a 35-degree night. And they move and they rise, which basic science tells us that cold air doesn't rise. And then when you take a photograph of that area, you come up with one of these, apparently a spirit energy globe or ectoplasm, as he calls it, what have you. And he's continuing these experiments as well. And it's really, in fact, he's going to be giving some seminars this summer for people that come to Gettysburg. He's going to take them out on a segment of the battlefield and teach them how to photograph these entities. And maybe they'll have good luck, maybe they won't.
Would it be fair to say that when you wrote Ghosts of Gettysburg, the first volume, you did not believe in ghosts?
Well, I was objective. I was skeptical. You know, it's difficult to say when somebody like Joshua Chamberlain, the great general who fought at Gettysburg, the jury was still out with him whether he believed what he heard about the Fifth Corps being led into battle by the ghost of George Washington. He, many years later, was still skeptical about it. Someone like that and other people, when they are kind of keeping their distance and kind of keeping their minds open about it, I'd like to say that I have an open mind about it, and always have. But even more so, I'm kind of leaning towards that there is something there that we haven't been able to explain yet, perhaps another energy source.
Well, I'm sure you could not have fathomed the success, and anyone who's familiar with the town of Gettysburg sees the tours that are in constant progress. You have how many different tours now?
We have three tours now.
Basically, it's like uptown, different parts of the...
we have the Carlisle Street and College Campus tour. We have the Baltimore Street tour. And then we have the Seminary Ridge tour that leaves from General Lee's headquarters there. And then we're working with the tour center as well with a bus tour that's not running this weekend, but it goes on the outskirts of the battlefield, Hospital Road, and places that were also fought over but not owned by the National Park Service. But yeah, the phenomenon is incredible, and I'm amazed because I knew there were a lot of Civil War buffs and a lot of Gettysburg buffs, but I never realized that there were so many paranormal buffs. Seem to be even more of those.
Yeah, and I think it's a phenomenon we're seeing throughout the country. Harper's Ferry, I was there several years ago. They had ghost tours. I don't know what they're doing with them now, but I mean, I guess it's a growing thing and very popular right now. You have not only the 4 books, but you said the second videotape is out and is now on the market. Right.
It's been out for over a year now. The first and second ones were brought out, and we're planning a third one, at least to have another someone else interested in doing a third Ghosts of Gettysburg video, and we certainly have enough stories for it. This fellow just finished a series on the haunted lighthouses of America, and I was like a talking head for one segment on a Maryland prison that has a lighthouse that's supposedly haunted. And we had talked about doing maybe a third video. So that's still up in the air, and I probably shouldn't have said anything about it, but I did.
Just as a teaser for Gettysburg, Ghosts of Gettysburg 4, can you kind of just give a little vignette of one of those stories from the book?
Well, there were some personal experiences that are in the book. For example, everybody was talking about the triangular field after the first book and second book came out. People had problems, seemed to have problems with cameras in the triangular field.
Now, where's that located?
Just past, when you go through Devil's Den, you get to the top of Devil's Den, and it's on the left-hand side. It's a very strange shaped field because they always made them in squares or rectangles, and this one is in the shape of a triangle. Whether that has anything to do with what's happening out there, I don't know. But I had a fellow by the name of Dale Kazmarek from the Ghost Research Society out of Chicago, Illinois, came into town. And he invited me to lunch and was asking me about the triangular field. And I told him all the experiences that cameras had. And I said, maybe there's something scientific about this. Maybe there's a magnetic field or electromagnetic field that we're having problems with. And he said, well, let's go out with the instruments. And we went out with instruments, everything from a Geiger counter to electromagnetic or a detector, a static electricity detector. Went all around, swept the field, and everything flatlined. The field is just as normal as any other field, as your backyard or my backyard. Why cameras continue to fail, why very, very expensive television cameras fail. Mary Saladna from Channel 8, WGAL-TV, had her camera fail when she was attempting to do a story on the triangular field. Why they fail, I don't know. There's no real scientific reason for it. So, but it happens frequently enough that we all know it happens and everyone's aware of it.
So you bring the readers up to date on the recent developments at the triangular field in Ghosts of Gettysburg 4. Mm-hmm. Now, I've been a fan of yours long before this ghostly phenomenon, and you have a lot of what I don't want to make them sound dry because they're certainly not, but what might be referred to as more scholarly works that require more traditional research. I mean, this has got to be kind of fun, the ghosts putting the stories together, and there's really no protocol, and you're not going to be second-guessed on your historical method and so forth. But that's just a part of what you do. Let's talk about some of the other books you've written and some of the more recent volumes. You're still an intense student of the Battle of Gettysburg and the Civil War. It's not just the ghosts, but also the real people and the historical images that they left behind.
Right. Fortunately, I've done some serious works in case I ever decide to go out and get a job and I need a resume or anything. I can't just do it with the ghost books. But I did 35 Days to Gettysburg, which is, I took 2 unpublished diaries, one Union, one Confederate, put them side by side, day by day through the Gettysburg campaign, and you can look up, for example, today, what was happening, what they wrote in their diaries, what was happening to them on this particular day 135 years ago, and follow their routes to Gettysburg. Rebel Rivers, I wrote right after that, and that was about the 4 major rivers in Virginia, the Civil War sites on the various rivers there, and you can get to those sites either by boat or by car and see some of the more obscure sites, but more important sites on the 4 major rivers in Virginia. Saber and Scapegoat, it was a defense of Jeb Stuart in the Gettysburg campaign. Jeb Stuart, of course, has been vilified for a number of years as the reason why Lee failed here at Gettysburg, and I actually defend Stuart in that book. And then Through Blood and Fire is a book that I wrote. I collected the Civil War letters of Joshua Chamberlain, the famous commander of the 20th Maine, from August 1862 to April 1865 when he left the Army, and put his letters together, and then identified various sites where he was when he was writing the letter who he was talking about when he wrote the letter, and also the sites where, for example, he was wounded. I discovered for the first time where exactly on the Petersburg battlefield he was wounded when he took that terrible wound on June 18th, 1865, the wound that took him out of the war for a while, and then also eventually, 50 years later, killed him. I also, I have a photograph of the bullet that hit him there, and his boots, and things that haven't been published before. He's kind of a hero to a lot of people, I know that. But it's kind of an interesting book. And other than that, I've just been kind of taking my time and goofing off, other than the 8 books that I've written in the last.
Yeah, not
4 or 5
slacking
years.
off too badly, I would say. What about your next scholarly project? Do you have anything in mind?
Well, I have the novel that everybody's got in their head that I'm working on. We all have one inside of us. So when I have time, and I did manage to sneak away for a couple of days last week, I work on that. And actually, there's 2 going. One's a Civil War theme, and the other one is a contemporary theme. But that's that, and of course, the ghost tours. This time of year, I'm kind of handyman, maintenance man, and the whole routine. I'm signing there this weekend from 7 to 10 on Friday and Saturday night. So if anybody, any of my friends from Gettysburg want to come in and pick up the new Ghost book in particular, I'll be glad to.
And now where's that?
Well, that's at the Ghosts of Gettysburg Candlelight Walking Tours headquarters. That's on 271 Baltimore Street.
Right
Here in
intersection
Gettysburg.
of Breckenridge.
Breckenridge in Baltimore. I was lucky we have a nice Civil War era house there, and we've not restored it. It was in real good shape when we got it, but we've kind of altered it a little bit to accept the ghost tours, and we have a spirit photo gallery there where some of Rick Fisher's works are, and various other things.
Well, just briefly about Saber and Scapegoat on the theme of Jeb Stuart. Probably most of the viewers know that he was over in Hanover, and I guess the Hanoverians could understand why he was reluctant to leave that fine city, but that's a whole other subject matter. I'm sure we could discuss that book in detail. You have things you have to do related to your tours. As you said, you have to get going, so we appreciate you taking time out from your busy schedule to visit with us here on Adams Community Television Live.
My pleasure, Jeff.
Mark Nesbitt, ladies and gentlemen, Ghosts of Gettysburg author of Saber and Scapegoat, Through Blood and Fire, and who knows what's coming next. Stay tuned. All right, Mark is going to go on his way, and as a segue, we're going to flash back to some of the musical acts we had on Act Naturally, and this is a performance by Jeff Kaufman and Linda Coe from February 24th, 1993. Jeff Kaufman currently plays with Tribal Stew, and Linda Coe with Ghost Dancer. But at the time, they brought their talents together for ACT. So let's go to the tape. Thanks, Mark Nesbitt, for being with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
let's pan the camera and welcome Dawn Baker of the Biggerville Lady Canners. Dawn, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And you actually ended up with what, over 1,200 or 1,300 or?
Yeah, it was 1,300.
1,300 plus points. The other two ladies couldn't be with us tonight. We're going to talk briefly about them. We might try to have them on later in the summer. They've certainly earned the right to be here and to reap all the rewards that Dawn's about to harvest. They are Heidi Sumser from Gettysburg and Carrie Timmons from New Oxford. And Carrie Timmons has another year too. She's only a junior, so she'll be a force to be reckoned with. Heidi Sumser is going to continue her career at Johns Hopkins, and you're also going to continue your basketball career at York College.
Correct.
Well, I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I'm a little scared.
Well, you've given a lot of memories to a lot of players. Senior season, though, had to be a thrill for you, not only becoming the all-time leading scorer, I guess, I think in the county, isn't it?
No, not in the
okay.
county.
Oh, that's right. That was
Carrie
Maitland. You didn't quite get to her total, but you had a great senior season. And then the team success. The team made the state playoffs and actually won a few games during postseason play. So was that satisfying for you?
Very.
And I know one game comes to mind because I had the privilege of covering it for the Gettysburg Times, and that was against Topahakan up at Carlisle High School, where you had 8 3-pointers, and I guess you were pretty much unconscious that night.
I think so. I was in a zone. Only one I had all season, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they weren't trying to defend you either. You just had, it seemed like every time you got the ball in the flow of the game and let it fire, it was nothing but net.
Yep.
Definitely, if you could only bottle that and be that consistent, I guess we'd all be superstars.
Yeah.
What was that like, though, the pressure building up to the 1,000th point?
That was very, very hard. Like, the last 10 points were harder than getting the 990 before that because of the pressure, like the newspapers and just everyone rooting for me to get it.
Right. I remember the game before you got it. It was at home. It would have been great to do it before the home fans. You needed 27, and that's a pretty good game. I mean, the game we were talking about earlier, you had 29, but that's not exactly a day at the park. It's unusual that you would score 27, but everyone was ready just in case. They had the bunting ready and the balloons and the bells and the whistles and everything. And then you didn't get that game, but the very next game against Penn Manor, you scored your 1,000th point. I guess the pressure was off when you weren't in front of home fans.
A little bit, yeah. I would have liked to have done it at home, but any game's fine.
And of course you went on there, that was early in the season, and you scored another 300 points all in a day's work. So now, York College, the Lady Spartans, I think is their name. So you go from being a Lady Canner to a Lady Spartan, and I guess that's a step up in terms of the nickname hierarchy. But what do you know about basketball at York College? It's a pretty competitive program over there. I think they were pretty close to 500 this past season.
They should be pretty good this year.
And I happen to know one of the players, Carol Chudeman, Gettysburg grad, plays at York College, has been working very religiously on her game. So you're going to have quite a few local products twirling over there for the Lady Spartans. And anybody else that you know of from the area?
Brooke Davis from York Suburban's there. But I think that's about it, really.
Now, what do they project you as a shooting guard?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you're headed, the number 2 position, as it's called. What about the returning personnel at that position? I mean,
There's a couple of people ahead of me, so I'm going to have to work hard.
Yeah. So what are you doing over the summer to keep your game sharp?
I work out 4 times a week for a weightlifting program and just run and play pickup ball.
Mm-hmm. Shoot a lot, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Any certain number of jump shots you take a day?
No, just till I get tired.
Just, yeah, as long as they all go in, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're very pleased that we've had an engraved plaque. We'll get that for you later. It says, congratulations, Dawn Baker, on scoring your 1,000th point. It's awarded by Adams Community Television and GS Communications. Tim McAllister was supposed to be here, the general manager of GS Communications. He had some other commitments, he couldn't be here. He wanted to personally present you this, so I have to do the honors instead, but it's very nicely embroidered with 1,000 points on the right well, I guess actually that's the left shoulder. And a little plug for HCS Home Team Sports there, but you get this very beautiful shirt, which I'm sure you will treasure all your days, and the plaque.
Thank you very much.
So you're welcome. And thanks for joining us here on live television. Dawn Baker, headed to bigger and hopefully better things at York College. Not that the Gettysburg or the Biglerville Canner experience was anyway a bad one. I guess you hated to see that end. Just
Yeah.
those days of playing ball and.
Wish I had one more year to be with the team.
Yeah. How's the team look for next year?
Pretty good.
Still have I guess Erin Bushy's going to be a
Yeah.
pretty solid nucleus for that
A
team.
lot of people are gonna have to step up there to help her out. So I think it'll be a little bit rough, but they'll be all right.
And they can't replace you, but they'll get somebody else out there as the shooting guard for Biglerville.
Yeah.
All right. Dawn, thanks for being with us. We're going to go now to the tape. Dawn Baker scoring her 1,000th point against Penn Manor High School this past season. Best of luck to you at your college, Dawn Baker.
Thank you.
And then we'll come back with a couple of songs by Ray Owen, and we'll wrap it up for the night. Let's go to the tape. 1,000 points, Dawn Baker.
Bushy to Taylor. Back to Bushy. To Warhalak. To Baker. Bushy drives. Baker shoots. Miss.
Got the rebound.
There it is. There it is. 1,000 points for Dawn Baker, and you hear the Biglerville crowd going wild. Dawn Baker has just hit point number 1,000 for the Biglerville Canners for her career, and they've stopped the game. And as you can hear and see, the Biglerville Canner fans are giving her quite an ovation here.
Doesn't understand the significance of this, what just occurred here.
There it is, Dawn Baker being congratulated, even not only by her teammates, but Fairfield players who are participating in this tournament.
Very nice gesture on their part, very nice.
$1,000 career points.
I think there's some question here on whether they're going to remove this one fan. But the question I think that's occurring is, was there a timeout called? Whatever. But they are going to remove one of the Penn Manor fans.
A soft, feathery jumper from the lane for her 1,000th point of her career, and then she gets the adulations and gets mobbed by her teammates, and her mom, Crystal, comes down from the stands to congratulate her. Quite a moment for Dawn Baker. And we hope to similarly honor the other 1,000-point scorers later in the summer, Carrie Timmons and Heidi Sumser. We really enjoyed bringing you live TV here tonight. We hope to make it a regular feature of the programming here on Adams Community Television. We are live here tonight, and we'll be live again in the near future. If you want to get involved with your local TV station, give us a call at 334-3000. We need talent, we need time, we do need some money too. So whatever is your preference, feel free. If you just want to send us a check payable to Adams Community Television, Box 3505, Gettysburg, PA 17325. We are a 501c3 charity. Your contributions are tax deductible. Let's talk. I have Ray on now with me.
Hey, could I get involved?
Yeah. You don't even have to call. You're here.
I'd like to set up a Habitat for Humor. Can we set up a
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
And
all right. Well, here's...
start with the people that don't have any humor, and then instead of like sweat equity, they have to work up the humor equity.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
What are you going to do for us now? And do you need a chorus?
Pardon?
Do you need a chorus?
I tell you what you could do. You could just see how you like this song and give me a,
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
Siskel and Ebert.
this is actually a song about a local restaurant we all know and love, right out on Route 30. I've been eating there since 1970. I remember when they used to have farmer cheeseburgers there. You know what a farmer cheeseburger is?
No.
Tommy knows, right? Yeah. It's a big, fat, rare cheeseburger with a big old fried egg on top. Kind of your low cholesterol. Anyway, I was sitting at Sunny Ray's restaurant. The waitress came up and said, "What do you want?" I looked at the menu and it looked so nice till she said, "Let me give you some advice. Spaghetti and potatoes got too much starch. Pork chops and sausage are bad for your heart. There's hormones in chicken, beef, and veal. Bowl of ravioli is a dead man's meal. Bread's got preservatives, nitrites, and ham, artificial sweetness, and jellies and jam. Stay away from donuts, run away from pie. Pepperoni pizza's a sure way to die. Sugar rot your teeth, make you put on weight. Artificial sweeteners got cyclamates. Eggs got cholesterol, does fat and cheese. Coffee will ruin your kidneys, and so does tea. Fish got mercury, red meat is poison. Salt's gonna send your blood pressure rising. Hot dogs and bologna got deadly red dye. Vegetables and fruits are sprayed with pesticides. So I said, "What can I eat? It's gonna make me laugh." She said, "A small drink of water in a sterilized glass." Then she stopped for a minute. She said, "Never mind the water, there's carcinogenics in it." I got it from the table, walked down the street, realizing there was nothing I could eat. I haven't eaten for a month now, but I'm feeling just fine. Because she did not mention Rolling Rock beer, Michter's Sour Mash whiskey, and Campbell's Adams County dry red wine.
Food for thought. Ray Owen.
Yes. Well, you know, we were talking earlier on the break, you know, think globally, spend locally. We support our local businesses.
Yeah.
After all.
We're going to let you wrap things up with one more song. Are you? I know you're able. Are you willing?
I'm willing and able.
All right.
And
I want to sign off, though, and then we're going to leave you with Ray Owen. This is Jeff Cook. It's been my pleasure to be your host here tonight. I want to thank all of our producers who worked so hard to make this all possible. Raymond Gauker and Craig Hutchinson with some long and tiring hours. Dane Wagle, Francis Brown, and all of our crew here. Great job here tonight. Thanks for being aboard, and we hope to return with live programming on a regular basis here at ACT. This is ACT Live. I'm Jeff Cook. Turning things over to Ray Owen for the final song of the night. Good night, everybody.
Oh, gosh, Jeff, it's a sing-along again. It's interesting because on this 4th of July weekend, I can think of a song that Woody Guthrie wrote that we all know. I think This Land Is Your Land is a requirement for graduation from elementary school, right? And it was Will Rogers once said that, and of course, Woody Guthrie was quite a fan of Will's. Never met a man I didn't meet. Still true today? No, actually, Will Rogers, less seriously, said, we have lost more lives celebrating Independence Day than fighting for it. So do be safe out there. Goes like this. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Oh, I went walking that ribbon of highway. I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Oh, here's a verse you haven't heard before. I remember I was traveling across the state of Pennsylvania one of those great sunny days like today. Kind of inspired to write one more verse. Being a lifelong Pennsylvanian with papers, it wasn't too hard to write this one. I'll send it out to everybody from everywhere, actually. It goes like this. From the New York state line to the Mason-Dixon, Pittsburgh steel town, to Philadelphia, ah, there's a place they call the state of. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Oh, this land was made for you and me. Yes. Well, I guess we're headed to the pub where we can find out whether we can.
Hello again, sports fans. Jeff Cook reporting from Hemp Polo Field, Cumberland County, the championship, the Old Gaelic Classic. Matt Graham on the opening kickoff. Slips it nicely to Jeremy Smith. Old Gaelic wins possession. Trossel tackled hard by J.R. Soppy of Reading. J.A. Baum, Old Gaelic scrum half. Dishes out to Diane Stefanin as Old Gaelic tries to go wide. Just underway. 2 30-minute halves in this tournament final. Normal games are 40-minute halves. A-Bomb kicks to open spaces. It stays in. Chisanis, the fullback, fields it. Ogle on the coverage. That stayed in. Fielded on a hop by Adamick.
There you go. Ogle, here we go.
Scrum down to Old Gaelic. No penalty awarded on that. Oh, kicker scrum, okay. So Old Gaelic takes the scrum at about the 20-meter line. Knocking on the door early on, their opponent today, Reading. Old Gaelic attacking in the gold jerseys. Oh, Roth and Hart misconnect. Trossel's there on the tackle. Dwight Hare in support, and now a whistle. The referee today is Dan Morris. And Hacksaw Wilson covering all the angles, bringing you the camera work on a beautiful day in May. This the third Sunday in May, May 17th. And you're viewing it, first-time viewers, May 18th on a Monday night. Local sports in your living room, 7 to 9, local rugby action. This game being played at the beautiful Hemp Polo grounds across from Cumberland Valley High School in Cumberland County. Reading wins it. Chisanis fills, and now he finds open spaces. Reisman and Hare combined on the tackle. Roth has a man. Oh, and he just threw wide of Vern Wojciechowski. He was trying to pin his defender. Let's set those lineups for you.
That's good. That's all right. Good idea.
Hacksaw Wilson is perched precariously in a bucket as an extension of a bucket truck. So generously provided compliments of Coach Tim Stefanin, coach of Old Gaelic. Old Gaelic wins the scrum down. It's Dwight Hare, the number 8. Old Gaelic being pushed back. Roth found a seam. A-Bomb to Geller. Jeremy Smith in support along with the Old Gaelic forwards. They dig it out. They go weak side, and now Adamack knocked it on. Forward surge by Reading near midfield. No score in case you just joined us, just underway. Old Gaelic had the ball for a moment and now lost it. Reading looks to produce. That's Darrell Horst, the fly half, into traffic. Quick spotting by camera ace Hacksaw Wilson. He does it all. Old Gaelic advanced to the championship by defeating, in order, Western Suburbs Lancaster, and this morning Brandywine. This is the fourth game of the 2 days. Nice tackle by Roth. Made a nice introduction to his opposite number. And now Old Gaelic digs it out.
But many of us also are annoyed at the extra fees those machines charge for their services. A House Republican believes those charges may be more than just an annoyance. Lawrence Gevers has that story.
If you have a Mac card or use automated teller machines, you've probably been exposed to the fees that some banks charge for their use. Many consumers feel that this practice is unfair, and Representative Eugene McGill of Montgomery County agrees.
Banks eagerly take your money, and I think that providing you with the access to that money is a cost of doing business. And it's cheaper for a financial institution to have their consumers use ATMs rather than human tellers.
This month, Representative McGill introduced House Bill 1890, the Electronic Terminal Surcharges Act, to stop the increasing fees ATM owners are placing on consumers.
The average surcharge is $1, but 31% of the machines nationwide charge $1.50, and I've heard in some instances in resort areas they're charging up to $4 per transaction. ATM owners are already being adequately compensated for transactions by non-customers through an interchange fee. People should not have to pay twice to get their money. That's price gouging. Nationally, financial institutions will earn $1.9 billion in surcharging revenue, and this is in addition to the income that's generated from the interchange fees.
House Bill 1890 would prohibit banks from imposing ATM surcharges on customers, but would allow banks to continue to charge a small transaction fee, usually just 34 cents. Banks, trust companies, and credit unions are among the financial institutions that would be required to adhere to the bill's provisions.
Surcharging has become so profitable that I understand non-banks are getting a piece of the action by placing cash dispensers in high traffic areas. Malls and other property owners used to think that having an ATM at their business was an advantage. They too have begun to cash in by requiring owners to pay them rent. You might say, why don't people just stop paying the surcharge? Well, some people have gone out of their way to find such a machine.
I'll walk an extra 2 blocks, or I'll drive an extra mile or so just to avoid getting charged $1, $1.50. Sometimes I've known even up to $2 just to take out 10. It's not even cost effective. I think it's ridiculous that you have to pay just to get hold of your own money. All it is pure profit for the banks. I mean, it almost takes away the total convenience of having the Mac machines and being able to just walk up, take money out. You know, you take your money in, you should be able to take your money out whenever you want to. I mean, it's your money. You pay them already in any kind of fees that you have for your checking account or your savings account or whatever. So they don't need the extra $1 or so just to hand over your money.
While public outcry over ATM surcharges has been heard, the introduction of House Bill 1890 is only the first step in the effort to help keep your money in your account.
Consumers are getting fed up, and large banks are getting wealthy.
For State House Perspectives, I'm Lawrence Gevers.
Finally, an amendment approved by the House would eliminate the mandatory requirement to wear a helmet and eye protection while operating a motorcycle. Those eligible to choose would be adult riders 21 years of age or older who have been licensed for 2 years or who have completed the state motorcycle safety course. Representative Teresa Brown of Crawford County says her amendment is about restoring personal freedom, but she also believes it will have a positive effect on motorcycle safety.
I am a firm believer that we can be like Minnesota. The state of Minnesota repealed their helmet law, and their accidents and fatalities dropped 54% in the first year. And people will say, well, how did that happen? It wasn't because of helmets, obviously, but the state and the legislature and the governor and the people took motorcycling safety seriously.
That's State House Perspectives for this month. I'm Herb Logan. Thanks for watching. Now back to you, Representative.
That's all the time we have for today's program. Thanks for tuning in. I'm State Representative Steve Maitland. If you have any questions concerning the show, or if I can help you with any legislative matter, please feel free to call me at my district office. We'll give you the number in a moment. Please join me again next time for another edition of Legislative Report.
Hi, I'm Deb McCausland. I'm a board member for Adams Community Television, and I'm here with Tim McAllister. Tim is the systems manager at GS Communications, and we're going to talk a little bit about GS Communications and ACTV to give our viewers a little bit of an idea of what's going on with ACTV. So Tim, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How about some of you're the systems manager. What does that involve at GS Communications?
Well, I've been with GS Communications now for about 2 years. I came aboard in 1995 as a marketing director and was in charge of all the marketing, our campaigns, our promotions, working with the community, working with Adams County Television. Recently, I was promoted to systems manager or appointed as our recent general manager has gone back to the corporate level, Jim Delaplane. Systems manager pretty much is to oversee the day-to-day workings of GS Communications, make sure that the technical end is up to par and our folks are doing what they're supposed to be, and we are taking care of our subscribers all the way around, working with the community, working with franchises, with townships, etc.
So you've got to meet a lot of people in this area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Meet a lot of people. Where are you originally from?
I've lived in the New York area for about the last 15 years, and have been over this way now for, well, the last 2 years been working over here. I still live in New York right now.
Have you been in cable environment most of your career?
I've been in the entertainment environment. I've been in entertainment marketing for about the last 15, 20 years, and also been a marketing director at other firms, etc.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about GS Communications. Who owns the company and how many subscribers do you have? Who all do you service? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. GS Communications, in fact, we're celebrating a 20-year anniversary this year, is owned by Great Southern Printing and Manufacturing out of Frederick, Maryland. We've been in business, as I said, for 20 years up here. Our operations also include our Frederick Cablevision system, and we have a system over in West Virginia, CRTV. Also, we own a newspaper, the Frederick News Post, and a printing operation. So we're a fairly large operation.
Okay. About how many employees do you have working for GS, just in the office you're in?
Sure. In our Pennsylvania system, we have about 45 employees. Where we operate in Pennsylvania is we have a system up in the Gettysburg area, a system in the Glen Rock area. Those two systems have been GS properties for 20 years. And about 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago, we purchased the PA Classic system, which is parts of Southern York County and Adams County. That was back in April of 94, in that area. And then as recent as September of 1996, we acquired the Salmons system, which serviced Gettysburg and Biglerville. So what we're trying to do is cluster our whole area, which we now service all of Adams County, and still some parts of York County.
Okay. Are there other cable companies in Adams County?
No, we right now at this
You have
point
it all.
are the Adams County cable provider.
Okay, great. Now, GS has been supportive of Adams Community Television, and I want to talk about that a little bit. I was a former PA Classic subscriber, and I never got ACTV in my home, and I lived in Heidelberg area.
Mm-hmm.
And that always confused me. And when we're out shooting programs for ACTV and people know that, they say, why don't I have ACTV, or how can I get it? And that's confusing to a lot of people, and it's hard for me to explain. So maybe you want to talk about that.
Sure. Basically, what happened with us putting our system together with our properties from PA Classic, from Salmons, from Glenrock, and from Gettysburg, we were dealing with different channel lineups, all right, with different head ends, which means where everything is put together. And what we're trying to do right now is to combine that to one, all right, and that is our ultimate goal with our rebuild that has been ongoing for the last couple of years. Our rebuild basically will be called our High Rock system.
Okay.
When the folks are in the High Rock system, they will be getting the same lineup all the way across the board. All right. That will be a fiber optic system, and will be allowing everyone to have 58 channels on their basic system with pay-per-view capabilities, extended HBO, Cinemax, and other pay channel capabilities. Right. What that basically means is everyone will be seeing the same thing. Adams County Television will be broadcast on one channel, so all of Adams County will see it. That's why there has been a problem, because there were so many different channel lineups. Okay. Our whole thing is to consolidate, and that's what we're working on.
About when do you project that this will occur?
Don't hold me to this. Basically, what we're shooting for is to have the project completed, including our Gettysburg and Glenrock systems, I would say probably within the next 2 years, and that's a rough ballpark. There's many factors. Number one, weather. Number two, how quick we can get our equipment in. It takes, just a little information for you, it takes probably about 6 weeks to get the fiber in, right? And it just depends on factors there with the government officials and how we're dealing with the area, etc. It's a lot of factors, but we're moving pretty much close to plan. We're doing what we expected. As far as this area, hopefully sometime in September we're going to be switching people over in the borough of Gettysburg to the new system. And as I said, that's rough. We're going to shoot for that, but
so hopefully at some point in time, most of the residents in Adams County who subscribe to GS Communications will be able to see ACTV.
Oh yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be little pieces being put into place a little bit at a time?
It's a rollout. Basically,
okay.
As we go, we roll. We started in the New Oxford area. It was in June of '96 where we actually really started rolling out the new system, the High Rock system. New Oxford, Bonneville, Littlestown, coming up towards the Gettysburg area. We're now also working over in the York County, over in Dover, in that area, York Springs, etc. So right now we have about over 50% of the old PA Classic SCATCOM system completed, and we hope to get that completed as quick as we can.
Do you know how many subscribers you have in Adams County?
In Adams County, our total is probably about 15,000 subscribers.
15,000. So that would be great if all of those subscribers got ACTV.
Yeah.
That would really be good. Forget those people who have those dishes and those other little, don't really work. That's good. You can't get ACTV with that. That's
there you
important.
go.
That's important. Okay. Now, recently, GS Communications has been supportive of Adams Community Television financially. So I'm not really sure how this all occurred and what it is that you hope that ACTV does with that money. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Basically, when we started the rebuild and started working on things, we moved our office over to the Gettysburg area from East Berlin and consolidated other offices. One day, there was a phone call that came in from a gentleman by the name of Ray Gowker, he wanted to come and visit. So Ray, BJ Small, and Jeff Cook came and gave me a visit and said, hey, we're Adams County Television. And me not really being from this area or being from the cable business said, well, explain what you folks do. And they said, what we do is we're a local access and we work with the community and here's some of our programming and we'd like to work with you. So we took a look at it and said, you know, that's not a bad idea because we definitely are 100% community oriented. We believe in the community. We want to give to the community. We want to work. Hey, we live here. We work here. So let's work together. And we looked at ACTV and it's like, hey, that's pretty good. Well, let's help these folks. So as we grew and knew our system was going to grow and more subscribers would see ACTV, we thought, let's beef them up. They need some financial help and also some support on the technical know-how, etc. So we got a complete staff of professionals at our office who are more than happy to help. So when all this came to be, we decided to come aboard and make some kind of an agreement here with these folks to be a supportive sponsor, you might say, and do some underwriting with them. So we came in with ACTV, gave some financial support, technical support, plan to continue that for the next few years.
That's great. It's been really necessary. Having been involved with ACTV a little bit, some of our biggest frustrations were money and people. And the people are here. We just have to tap into them, but money is a big problem. So with the money that ACTV has gotten from GS, I think we're going to be purchasing a lot of equipment. And hopefully then we need volunteers to use that equipment to go out and shoot local programming. And that's how we'll really make things work. And that local connection, to me, is really important. Because for the people who do have the dishes, and, you know, one of the big frustrations is that they have a hard time getting the local news stations. I hear that. And in addition to that, they just don't get ACTV. So they don't get to see the Little League games, and they don't get to see the local events that we cover. And that's kind of unfortunate, because it's important what's going on right here.
It really is. And yeah, you're right, Deb, on a satellite dish. You cannot pick up your local channels, your Channel 8, your Channel 27, your Channel 43. Sure, you're going to get a local NBC, but it's out of Wisconsin. And do you care what happens in Wisconsin? Yeah. So, yeah, and you lose that local flavor. And even with your ACTVs, they can't pick it up. So you're right, you can't see your neighbor's son or your son playing baseball, etc. And that was our whole deal behind getting involved with ACTV. We thought they could really provide a tool to the community, and we could be involved with that, just providing a tool to the community, getting our message across. We've had many, many meetings, and we're getting off the ground with this whole deal. I've noticed in the last couple of months things have really grown. ACTV is now in a new building. They're looking at getting some state-of-the-art equipment. They've talked with a lot of our technical folks and getting some advice. And I start to see the name out there. The marketing's starting to come, etc. And you can probably elaborate a lot more on that. But we really are committed to it as time goes on. We want you to relate those two together. When you say ACTV, the next thing out of your mouth is going to be GS Communications and vice versa.
That's good. I know GS Communications does run the public service announcement. So, you know, you're telling us there's a beef and oyster dinner at the fire hall. And, you know, a lot of times events occur here and people will say, oh, I didn't hear about that, or I didn't know about that. And I think that's the good thing, that working together can help people to learn about the events coming up and that happened in the past, you know, to really tap into what's going on right in their backyard.
Well, you're right. And what surprised me really in the area, I know a lot of people sometimes they look at the community bulletin board as, oh, it's another channel. But do they pay attention to it? And that was questions I had when I came here. I was like, do people use that? That question was answered very quickly. We got the character generators, started running things across. The demand for us to put messages on was just fantastic. Then I was getting calls back from those organizations that were asking us to put things on fire halls, churches, etc. Hey, we've never sold these events out. We're starting to sell things out. So that's showing me that people in this area, our subscribers, like to see what's going on in the community and like that local flavor, where ACTV now can start picking up on sporting events, news shows, Little League games. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, you name it. Sky's the limit. There's a lot that can be done.
Yeah, well, that's good, effective feedback. It really tells you that it is happening. I know I've sent some things down for you to run, and I really do appreciate it, because advertising events is hard, and you have to tap into a lot of different places in order to get people out there. So if you're hearing that, you're getting a lot of response, that's meaningful.
So while we're talking about that, we can tell some folks right now, what we do is we run community bulletin board, and on the community bulletin board, we will run an announcement for your nonprofit organization, your church, fire company, United Way, activities such as that, what you have going on. Our parameters are a maximum of 9 lines, a maximum of 34 characters per line, and we'll run it for 2 weeks in advance of your event. Or if you need to sign up ahead of time, etc., that's fine, but we'll run it for 2 weeks. Also, I need that in writing, and you can send it to us to my attention. You can either fax it to 717-337-0992 or mail it to 2070 Baltimore Pike, Gettysburg, 17325.
That's good. That's good information for people. Okay. What is it that you hope Adams Community Television does? What types of programs do you hope that the money that GS has given will be able to provide? Is there any specific goals that GS has for ACTV, or just kind of keep doing what you've been doing?
Really, what I like to see with ACTV and as a whole is to be supportive of the community. As far as actual programs, I think there's so much out there that it can be overwhelming. And I think the folks and the people that volunteer their time for ACTV all have interest and know what the community is looking for. I think it's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of hard work from the volunteers, and it's going to need the people in the community to support it.
Right.
Not just financially, but volunteers to come out and help with cameras and to help do events and anything that needs done. What my ultimate goal is to see ATV doing programming, sports, news, community activities as far as nonprofit type stuff. What the folks are interested in. All right, we have a lot of history around here.
Yeah, we do.
We really do.
A lot of things going on, and it's worth publicizing.
It really is. It really is. So I think as they beef things up and we get things going with ACTV, it's going to fall into place.
Well, right now, we're in the middle of July now, as we're talking, and ACTV is not live because we're waiting for this fiber hookup. We've moved our location, so some things need to be done. But when we go live in September, we're going to have some more live news shows, and things will really start heating up. So we're kind of in a state of transition right now.
Sure.
So it's kind of frustrating. There are things we want to do, but we just can't do right yet because things just aren't in place. But in the fall, things will really beef up in here.
All good things take time. As you said about the fiber, basically that has to do with our rebuild. For those folks that don't know, we're running fiber optics in the new system through the area. And with you having a new building, we need to get all the technical things hooked in, which is coming quicker than what you think. That will be the next step, and then with the equipment that ACTV is going to be purchasing, it'll all tie in together with their new, basically a rebuild for ACTV. Let's look at it that way. So you're right, sometime this fall, you're going to start seeing live programming again, and I think it's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Yeah, I do too. I have a real good feeling about it. I've been involved with ACTV, I guess, about 3-4 years maybe, and it seems like with the financial support that GS has given us, it's been really a big morale booster for us. I mean, we've just been kind of hanging in there, but now we know that there is a future, and we do really have some things to look forward to because of GS's support, and we do appreciate that. And in addition to GS communication support, we need support from volunteers. So with like we had talked about earlier, the equipment that we're going to be getting, we need people behind that. And this organization is run basically by volunteers. I mean, recently we've had some paid staff, but that's a first. So we really need people who have skills or maybe just time or an interest or a specific interest. I know I'm concerned about environmental issues and things like that. So I cover events like that, like Strawberry Hills Open House. That's my interest, and that's why I'm here. And we need more people with different interests, diverse topics, in order to bring more programming to ACTV. I'm sure the viewers wouldn't want to see the same old things from me all the time. They like the sports from Jeff. They like the news. They like the different events that are going on. But what we really need are people. So I'm going to take this time to make a pitch for anybody who's watching this tape to call us. 334-3000 is our number, and we need people badly. We need people who want to run a camera, people who like to talk like this, to conduct interviews, people who like to sit behind the scenes and do editing. Whatever your expertise might be, we need people. We need people to support our program, someone to sell, maybe get underwriters for some of the shows that we might be able to develop. So people are real important. Now that GS has provided the money, the next thing we need is the people. So we hope to get that moving.
You're so right. I mean, this is a way for people who have always had that, say, the closet TV producer, who always wanted to come out. Hey, it's a way you can come out and have some fun. It's not going to cost you anything. The only thing it's going to cost you is a little bit of time. That's it. And
it is so worth it. Just last week, I got a call from Lois Starkey at Gallery 30, and she said she was having Ron Maxwell at her store to sign. He was releasing a new video, and he was promoting it. And I didn't actually interview him. I got a friend of mine to do that, but I taped him. And I got to shake hands and sit down and talk with Ron Maxwell. That was a big thrill for me. You know, I would have paid to be able to do that, but I got to do it free because I'm with ACTV. So that was a real honor for me. And something that never probably would have been able for me to be able to happen had I not been a volunteer for ACTV. Lois knew that I did that type of thing. She needed some publicity at the last minute, gave me a call, and I was interested. I walked away. I was thrilled. You know, I told everybody, I met Ron Maxwell. It was great. And Jeff Shara, who writes Gods and Generals, was there too. And I talked to him, and I told him some stories about what I experienced as I read the book. And that was a great experience for me. And it's there because of ACTV. So it really can enrich your life.
It's a neat way for some new experiences. To show you basically where ACTV is right now is grassroots. They've been doing well going along for the last several years. But now that there's support and there's an interest in this community, and now it can really expand. Our Frederick Cablevision office, we have our own equivalent to ACTV is our LO Channel 10. They do weekly programs. They do the Frederick Keys. Right? In fact, we won a Cable Ace Award last year for the broadcast of the Frederick Keys, which everybody was elated about that. But they started at a local type, same type of thing as ACTV. Now they actually have a lot of paid employees. Some of our cameramen and folks that work down there also work for the Baltimore Orioles. So, hey, they get to go out and meet Cal Ripken and this and that when they're doing camera work, etc. So it's a way to get started, and that's our ultimate goal, is to see ACTV really shine and be an extension of GS Communications. So we need those volunteers.
Yeah, we do. We really do. I told my son that he was considering a career maybe in communications, and I pitched ACTV. I said, get in there, do the head end, something to put on your resume.
Yeah.
And that's worked well for him. He does some head end, and he'll be doing that again in the fall. So that's good experience, too. So I can't say enough about ACTV. I think it's a really good thing, and I think we have a lot to be proud of in this county. There are a lot of really great events going on with the history, but not just that, with all the other things that are going on here and all the good people that live here. So we'll just say it one more time. If you want to help ACTV, we need you. And our phone number is 334-3000. Give us a call. You have an address if you want to write us a letter. Give us some suggestions on what you would like to see on ACTV. I think our address is 44B Franklin Street, Gettysburg. So give us a call, write us a letter, and tell us how ACTV can help you and how you can help us. All right, Tim, thanks a lot for your time, and good luck to you as you have your new job in GS and your new title and your new role, and I hope things continue to work out well. We're